In the last few days, the internet has been abuzz with a particular revelation in a new biography of Elon Musk. The extract from Walter Isaacson's book, published in the Washington Post, stated that the SpaceX CEO secretly told engineers to turn off Starlink coverage within 100 kilometers of the Crimean coast to prevent a Ukrainian attack on the area. The extract continued, "As a result, when the Ukrainian drone subs got near the Russian fleet in Sevastopol, they lost connectivity and washed ashore harmlessly." Musk disputed the claim, tweeting that the Starlink regions in question were not activated in the first place, and that the company did not deactivate anything. Instead, there was an emergency request from government authorities to activate Starlink to Sevastopol, the obvious intent being to sink most of the Russian fleet at anchor, wrote Musk. "If I had agreed to their request, then SpaceX would be explicitly complicit in a major act of war and conflict escalation." While he has not blocked an attack, Musk has clearly prevented US DoD from exploiting Starlink's capabilities. Now a key person has spoken on this matter. U.S. Air Force Secretary Frank Kendall said this incident has raised questions as to whether the U.S. military needs to be more explicit in future contracts that services or products it purchases could be used in war. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why Elon Musk refusing Starlink activation for attack on Russian fleet in Sevastopol is concerning for the US DoD. Let's get started. Starlink is a satellite internet constellation operated by SpaceX, providing satellite internet access to most of the Earth. Musk's Starlink aims to sell internet connections to almost anyone on the planet by way of a growing network of private satellites orbiting overhead. As of August 2023, Starlink consists of over 5,000 mass-produced small satellites in low Earth orbit, LEO, which communicate with designated ground transceivers. SpaceX describes the Starlink system as a high-speed, low-latency broadband internet option for users all over the world. There are plans that could see the number of satellites potentially reach 42,000 in the future. Instead of relying on fiber optic connections or 5G towers, Starlink connects users to satellites using transceivers that can be set up anywhere. Users can switch off a transceiver and take it with them. Users usually see download speeds between 100 megabits per second and 200 megabits per second, and latency that can be as low as 20 milliseconds. Over 10,000 Starlink terminals are currently in use in Ukraine, and each terminal can serve many users. Starlink has been a crucial asset for connecting combat drones, naval drones, artillery fire coordination systems, and attacks on Russian positions. SpaceX has expressed reservations about the offensive use of Starlink by Ukraine beyond military communications and restricted Starlink communication technology for military use on weapon systems. SpaceX, however, kept most of the service online. Its use in attacking Russian targets has been criticized by the Kremlin. Musk was not on a military contract when he refused the Crimea request. He'd been providing terminals to Ukraine for free in response to Russia's February 2022 invasion. Musk had warned that the service was costing $20 million per month, and a Ukrainian official estimated SpaceX's contributions as over $100 million. In June 2023, the US DoD signed a contract with SpaceX to finance Starlink use in Ukraine. Starlink is unique as it's extremely resilient. The Air Force Research Laboratory has found that in contested environments, low Earth orbit satellite constellations are much more resilient to signal jamming and also provide the low latency required to support tactical missions. Air Force Research Laboratory noted in an official document, the communication requirements within and around Eastern European areas in support of Ukraine operations expand daily. Starlink LEO fulfills the requirement of reducing processing times and increases theater-based operations on changing requirements and locations. Kendall, during a roundtable with reporters at the Air Force Association convention at National Harbor, Maryland, said that the uncertainty that Musk or any other commercial vendor could refuse to provide services in a future conflict has led space systems military planners to reconsider what needs to be explicitly laid out in future agreements. Kendall added, if we're going to rely on commercial architectures or commercial systems for operational use, then we have to have some assurances that they're going to be available. We have to have that. Otherwise, they're a convenience and maybe an economy in peacetime, but they're not something we can rely upon in wartime. Starlink is not the only endeavor that SpaceX is pursuing, which has implications for the U.S. military. SpaceX is contracted to assist the Air Force's Air Mobility Command in the development of a rocket spacecraft designed to rapidly transport military cargo to areas affected by conflict or disasters. This innovative solution aims to reduce the military's dependence on slower modes of transportation, such as aircraft and ships. While not specifying SpaceX, General Mike Minahan, head of Air Mobility Command, said, American industry has to be clear-eyed on the full spectrum of what it could be used for. Andrew Hunter, Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Acquisition, Technology, and Logistics, said, we acquire technology, we acquire services, required platforms to serve the Air Force mission, or in this case, the Department of the Air Force. So that's an expectation that it's going to be used for Air Force purposes, which will include, when necessary, to be used to support combat operations. In recent years, with increased U.S. military investment in space, there have been concerns about how to protect commercial vendors from liability in the event of launch failures. There have also been discussions about whether the U.S. military is obligated to defend the assets of these firms, such as their satellites or ground stations, when they're providing military support in a conflict. Musk's refusal in the case of Ukraine has brought attention to the question of whether firms providing military support during a war should explicitly agree that their support could be used in combat, a matter that's not been a primary focus until now.
Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.